All right, let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Cybersecurity regulations are evolving rapidly across the globe, and organizations are increasingly being asked not only to defend against the cyber threats, but also to demonstrate accountability, resilience, and operational readiness. Today's focus discussion is going to be on Bill C-8 and what it could mean for organizations across Canada, from governance and risk management to incident reporting obligations and overall cyber resilience. And while the legislation itself is important, what organizations are really trying to understand is what does this mean for them operationally? Where are their gaps? And how can they prepare in a practical and sustainable way? And that's exactly what we are going to be exploring today. Before we move forward, a quick couple of notes about the session. First, feel free to drop your questions into the chat at any point during the session, and Samara and I will address them at the end of the session during the Q&A period. Secondly, we would also be launching 2 live polls during the webinar, and I'd like to encourage everyone to participate since it will give us a clearer picture of where organizations are in terms of their awareness and readiness. And it also makes the conversation more interactive and valuable. With that, let's get started. My name is Diana Gomez, and I'm the Vice President overseeing the PMO and GRC teams at Bell Cyber. My role allows me to work closely with organizations that are navigating governance, risk, and compliance, along with implementing cybersecurity transformation activities. So I get to see firsthand how rapidly expectations are changing between cyber resilience and accountability. Today, I'll be moderating the discussion and helping connect the strategic and operational lens throughout the session. I'm also very pleased to introduce you to Samir Adi, the Vice President of Cyber Strategy and Industry Engagement at Bell Cyber. He will be walking us through the evolving Bill C-8 landscape, the potential impact on organizations, and how Bell Cyber is helping its customers prepare. Samir, over to you.
Thank you, Diana, and good afternoon, everyone. It is a very nice day today, weather-wise, to speak about Bill C-8. I don't know if people like this or not, but as Diana said, I'm the VP of Cyber Strategy and Industry Engagement with Bell Cyber. I have been in the domain long enough to understand the technical impact of a new regulation actually on something like cybersecurity, in addition to what executive leadership team need to take within an organization to be able to meet the new requirement. So now we are talking about Bill C-8 that came to existence I think close to end of last year, and it has passed all the readings in the different legislations as we speak. Bill C-8 actually now moved cybersecurity from being a technical problem, a cybersecurity problem, to become now a regulatory requirement. And that actually shed more light now on how cybersecurity and resiliency both together will be important for organizations. And the most important thing, how us as a Canadian service providers will be able to help our clients and potential clients on how they can navigate the requirement for Bill C-8 and what they need to do to actually maintain proper governance, a proper reporting structure regarding Bill C-8 to the authorities. As Diana said, if you have any question, feel free to stop me or drop the question in the chat box, and we will be sure that we will cover all of those as we go. But because of the dynamic of the topic, sometimes you become in a place where I want to ask this question now, so feel free to do that. So what is Bill C-8 and why people are talking about it now in too much of an importance? So the Canadian legislation focused on strengthening the cybersecurity across critical sectors. And we know there is the government sectors, there is the critical infrastructure sector, and there is the other sectors. And usually cybersecurity become afterthought, and people will think about it the second day of go production when they deploy anything from an application perspective. But now the new requirement introduce actually a new risk, new requirements for risk management. So now you start looking at the KRIs and the aspect of the risk points that the technology is introducing to the organization, and also they are talking about the importance and the requirement for reporting and governance of those requirements. Also, Canada now is trying to align with the global trends of resiliency, of regulatory oversight of what organizations are doing, especially when it comes to cybersecurity incidents, cybersecurity reporting, and cybersecurity resiliency. And when we speak about resiliency, it's not a matter of I have a primary data center or on-prem or in the cloud, and I have a backup data center. No, resiliency now become a new definition of can you actually operate if you are under a security attack or a security threat or a security breach, and how you can ensure that your line of business is still operate and your revenue generators still exist. And if you are in the government sector, your reputation as a service provider has not been impacted. So it's not only coming now to how you protect critical infrastructure at the national level, but also it moves now cybersecurity into a regulated space and with mandatory obligations, highlight what others are doing in this space, like the US, like EU, and like UK. And when we speak about the new
Uh,
requirement, sorry, go
I
ahead,
had a
Diana.
quick question, yes. So before we go on, Samir, I wanted to ask based on the discussions that you're having with our customers on Bill C-8, what do you think is the most common misconception that is, there in people's minds about what is Bill C-8 or what does it mean and its impact?
So this is a really good question, Diana, early in the conversation. So most of the clients we are talking to now, I think the misconception is we have our security controls in place, we have our cybersecurity program in place, we are good to go. There is nothing else to do. And actually, when you start reading the technical details of the bill, you will see that there's actually some major changes that has been introduced. Maybe it's not from a technology perspective, like you don't need to have a new platform, you don't need to have a new tools in place, but now it's the governance of those tools. It's the reporting when you have an issue. It's the requirement for actually continuous monitoring and continuous reporting from a cybersecurity perspective. Historically, people will report an incident when it is major, when it is in the news, and when there's big waves about it. Now, the new requirement, actually, you need to report almost every single cybersecurity incidents that you could have within the organization. And those could vary. When we speak about cybersecurity incident, this could be actually a privacy incident. This could be a data breach incident. This could be a matter of you access the wrong data in the wrong time in the wrong place, and that become an issue. So now the definition for reporting and the requirement for reporting became much bigger than previously announced. And this is where some of the organizations we are talking to are not prepared yet to handle the governance requirement around Bill C-8 and the reporting requirement from Bill C-8. I don't see too much of a gap from a technology perspective. Like you don't need to have a budget of whatever number of money to buy new tools. It's actually just to work in the processes within the organization that will ensure the reporting aspect and the resiliency aspects of your product.
Okay, okay, good to know.
So when you are talking about, as I said, like there's a very increase on the regulatory requirement, very increase on the security requirement, and now it's a mandate to report when you have a cybersecurity incident. Previously, it was okay. We will go and report it to the authorities, and we have different reporting mechanism within Canada and within the different provinces. but it was, I only need to report if it make it to the news, if it is something well known and then big known and widely known a type of an attack. But now that has been changed, and now the accountability of actually the reporting shifted from the individual people in the security space, i.e. CISOs, to actually now it's the executive team and it's the board level responsibility within the information. Also part of this new mandate, the financial and reputation risk for not being compliance with the new regulation become much bigger, because now I assume within a very short time we will have a list of non-compliant organizations that did not meet the requirement for Bill C-8. And that's for people who do business in the space and they go and they see your name on that list. How much damage this could introduce to your reputation as an organization, how much damage this could introduce to your revenue, how much damage this could introduce to your business as you speak. Nobody can put a dollar value on reputation damage, but if that come to a place where now you have a list of companies who did not meet the requirement for Bill C-8, that's will come with the time. So the mandate now for cybersecurity resiliency and reporting, it's not optional anymore. It's not like, okay, today is Monday, I have an incident, I will report it. Tomorrow it's Friday, I have an incident, I will not report it. It become now part of the mandated requirements to become a compliance company. And it's actually introduced, as I said, real-time accountability for the executive and the board level. And now this is why I start see more and more of actually now boards coming to us at Bill Cyber to ask about how we can help them to be compliant with Bill C-8, how we can help them bridge the gap. I don't see those coming to me now from the CISOs, because CISO said, you see, now the board is aware, now it's his responsibility, now the board need to have it done. Previously, it was the other way. The CISO need to go to the board, the CISO need to chase the budget, the CISO need to bring all the requirements. Now with the new mandate, the responsibility and the accountability has been shifted a little bit to become part of the board level responsibilities. When we speak about what is the key requirements for the new bill and why it is different from what we had before. So now within the bill C-8, and it's actually 108 pages. So this is the 8, I think it came from the number of the pages, document that it's very detailed, very articulate, and it's a very good read, especially on during bedtime or before bedtime for that one. So when you look at the cybersecurity management program, now you need to have a detailed, documented policies, procedures, roles, controls to actually identify, assess, and mitigate any cyber risks you have within the organization. Previously, before that one, the requirement was you need to have a risk register. And in the risk register, you will say, I'm aware of this risk. This is the control I have. And good luck having any compensating control after that. With the new requirement, actually, you need to have a full program where you have a full list of your risks, a full assessment done in each one of them, and the mitigation program that you need to deliver. Also, the requirement for incident detection and reporting has been increased in a way where previously people will say, yep, we have an on-call person, he work, this is his number, if there's an incident, call him. The new requirement now want to be sure that you have a continuous monitoring. So this is actually now a machine speed process in place to monitor all your logs, all your alerts, all your incidents, and actually be able to make decisions on which incident we want to escalate and which alert want to become an incident and which incident now will become a situation that you need to call your client or your CISO or your executive team to report about that. Supply chain, always we spoke about it. Always we say, what about third party? What about other vendors who connect to my network? Other vendors who provide me with a service? There is many big data breaches that has been made public. because not of your environment, not of your systems, not of your controls. It is actually because of a third-party vendor you introduced to the organization to provide you with a service. So the Bill C-8 now mandated some security reviews, some security requirements that you need to do with all your third-party vendors now, and actually they start talking about fourth-party vendors also in that space. You need also to look at sensitive and critical infrastructure and data, where previously it was good enough to have a firewall and you have access control in the firewall and everybody is happy and everybody sleep well at night. Now, actually, with the new requirements, you need to have a full inventory of your data. You need to have a full inventory of who have access to this data and a full playbook to what people can do with this data. And that now need to be not manually implemented, not manually reviewed every 90 days or 30 days, whatever your requirement is. But actually, this is now start being something that you need to automate. You need to use AI in that space. You need to use some controls where actually the access to the data is logged, the data location is logged, and if you are in a place where organization that data residency is important for you, then at that stage you need to be sure that you know exactly where is your data stored. Answer an auditor now or answer a governance body to say, yeah, my data in the cloud. It doesn't cut it anymore because where is it in the cloud? Is it in this cloud? Is it in that cloud? Is it in this center and that center, or it's in Canada actually, or it's outside the country? So you need to have all those details now coming to your organization. So the cybersecurity program now need to be formalized within the organization, need to have an owner for that program. And it is not anymore something ad hoc type of a thing we do when we think there is an audit, and we do only when we have a big deal that we wanna close and we wanna look good in front of our providers. Reporting requirement now mandate that to be able to report accurately, you must be able to detect faster and more accurate. So this is now why we are talking about AI in security operations centers. We talk about AI in monitoring. We speak about the ASOC type of a function that would allow you a speed machine of going all through your logs, all your alerts, and all through your systems to find out what correlated incidents that you need to be aware of and what else, actually, what others that you need to report as an incident. When you speak about the supply chain risk, that's now your responsibility as an organization, not the owner. The ownership is not on the third party themselves. So if I use a third party to provide a service for me and they have an issue from a security perspective, it is my responsibility to report. It is my responsibility to protect, and it is my responsibility actually to keep my service providers in check. Few years ago, a big Canadian company had a data breach, and the first thing the CEO did is they went on TV and they said, nope, it's not us, it's one of our vendors. Guess what? With the new requirement now, it is you, it's not your vendor. It is your responsibility to be sure that your vendors actually providing you with the support you need for this data. And it's you responsible now for the data security and the data compliance within your organization. And that all will fabric together to become a national security interest for us as a country.
Okay, I think now that we've heard quite a lot about what are the requirements for Bill C-8, and Samir has highlighted some of the new requirements that have come out as a result of the legislation. I want to have the first poll that we're going to conduct. So on your screens, you're going to see a quick poll with some questions, some options. Let's get some feedback from our listeners and see what the results are going to be. So I'll give everyone a couple of seconds to answer, and then we can view the results. Okay, excellent. So, Samir, what are your thoughts? Are you seeing, what we are finding in the market when we are talking with clients and potential clients?
I cannot see the results because I'm the presenter actually, but
I can tell you what they are.
tell
So
me.
65% of our respondents said that yes, Bill C-8 is applicable to their
Okay.
organization. 6% said no, it is not applicable. And 29% said that they are not sure, they do not know if Bill C-8 is applicable to their organization.
Okay. And this is actually so 65, 629. So this is actually almost at the same levels where I see when I speak to different people in the space about do you think that Bill C-8 is applicable for you or not? The people who said the 65 who said we are, or the 65% who said we know, and yes, it is applicable for us. Those are actually on the right path, and those are no worries that they know that they need to meet the new deadlines, they know meet the requirements, and they definitely start working on how we want to be sure that we will be able to do it in the right way. The 6% who said nope, good for you. That's mean you are not a federal entity, you are not a bank, you are not critical infrastructure. Keep doing what you are doing. My worry actually is with the 29 who said we are not sure. Like if you are in a place and there's a new requirement that has been released by the federal government, and until today you are not sure if this requirement will be applicable for you or not, you make me worry because that's mean from your perspective and my perspective, you did not yet start working on how you want to do your assessment, if how you want to find the gaps, what plans you will have to close those gaps. And as we proceed with this one, you definitely will be late out of the gate for the compliance program in that one. So hopefully the 29% who said they are not sure yet, they do their due diligence. Talk to me if you need, talk to somebody at Bill Cyber, and we can help you with that. But I want you to be in the no side as soon as possible so you can proceed with your programs. But yeah, those are accurate actually, and I always focus on the 29% of the people to build up in the conversation. So when we say yes, it's applicable, or no, or I don't know, actually you need to talk to the business, you need to talk to the legal team within the organization, you need to speak to your audit team because there is a big impact on the organization from a Bill C-8 perspective. Like you need, as I said, like you need to have a formalized governance structure around the full program from a cybersecurity perspective to a reporting perspective to a governance perspective. And this is where things start coming a little bit, where you need to have a clear defense line where people speak about first line of defense, second line of defense, and third line of defense. And usually first line of defense in this space on the governance framework, this is not the security team, this is not the audit team. This is actually the people or the custodians of your infrastructure, your application, your APIs, your platforms, your application. Those are the people who look at how we can keep this environment secure, how we can maintain the security and the cybersecurity program within the organization. Then you come to your second line of support, which is usually the CISO and his team, where they look at the policies, procedures, processes within the organization to ensure that whatever regulatory requirements we need to meet, it's actually translated to an internal language that our first line of defense understand. And your third line of defense, usually it's your risk team within the organization or your audit team within the organization based on the size of the organization and the structure of that organization. But that's now need to be defined, and that's now actually when you start report about Bill C-8, you need to have a clear ownership of level line one, line two, line three defense within your governance framework. Also, when we start, we need to start looking at how you can enhance if you have something in place for monitoring and detection capabilities. So people previously will say, I do have an EDR, which is installed in my endpoints, and it reports to a SIM, and God knows who look at this SIM. Now you cannot say that anymore. Like you need to have a security for your endpoints, a security for your servers, a security for your application, security for almost every aspect of what your technology fabric look like. You need those logs to go to a centralized place, usually SIM. Pick your poison. I have no preference, but you want to be sure that there is actually somebody like Bill Cyber who have a 24 by 7 eyes on those alerts, those monitorings, and identify any potential incident or any potential breach and be able to contain it quickly and mitigate any risk before it come to the news. And this is where people start talking about the SLAs that you have with your MSSP. Is 4 hours SLA now good enough for you as an organization, or actually 10 minutes now is not good enough for you as an organization? Because the time data is exfiltrated, the time the data in the black web and the dark web, and the time that data become available for people to consume, and that's dangerous for you. When you start looking at the integration between your cybersecurity controls or program with the business strategy, this is also now something new for the organization. So I have been fortunate enough to be in certain organizations where actually the CISO is part of the board and the reporting structure, where when we have the business opportunities coming to the funnel for discussion, the CISO will see those business opportunities, will look for synergies, will look for places where we can tighten more the security or spend more in security or spend more in security. But security now is a major player on the business strategy. It's not something that at the end of the chain where all the projects, all the budgets, all the upgrades, all the things that business want to do will come to the security team on the 11th hour, and then we don't have enough time really to fix any of the needed. Also now there is a big requirement and big shift and focus on documentation and being ready for audit. So previously, and I'm sure many people in this call will attest to that, is usually you have an annual audit, and a month before the audit, the auditors will send you their 300, 400 questions. You will disappear for 2 weeks. You will prepare all your answers, and then you will come back to the audit team and say, "Yep, we are ready. We pass," and nothing much required. With the space we are performing in now, or we are operating on now, you need to be sure that at any given time, the audit team could come to you and ask you for a full-scale audit. You need to have the tools in place, and now we start talking about AI, and now we start talking about automated governance systems, and then this is, by the way, a service Bill Cyber provide, where actually you can produce and audit artifacts almost immediately from within your environment to meet the audit requirements or to answer the audit questions that coming to you from the audit team. The motion of give me 3 weeks to collect all the screenshots you need for you, give me 4 weeks to be able to look all my policies for you, it's not going to help you anymore. There is a service that can integrate to your systems when an auditor or a regulatory representative come to you to ask you about something. You can run the report within your environment, within your policies, within your procedures, within your servers and applications, and produce the evidence you need to show with the auditors. So that's now also is a major shift in how we do that. So in a nutshell, security now actually becomes a business strategy. It's not layered on top of business strategy. So when we go to ask for fund or budget from the CFO, we go usually hand in hand, the security team and the business team, and we present one story. We did not we don't contradict each other because I want to do security and they want to do business. We want to do business in a secure fashion as we go.
I think
Questions?
Yeah, Samir, I think one of the things that you are highlighting here is really about how cybersecurity is no longer just, an operational thing that we do in the background, and it's really coming more to the center. and it's getting the attention it needs at all levels within the organization and even at the board level. What I want to know is, what are you seeing in the environment that executives are really leaning into that strategy for cybersecurity, and the board is really leaning into that, making cybersecurity a priority, something that they are actively monitoring, engaged in, asking the tough questions about. What's been your experience when you're talking to our clients?
So now, like this has now become a really good situation for CISOs, and this is where we now start seeing new breed of CISOs, where we traditionally have somebody who has been labeled as a technical CISO, people who will go to the, or CISOs who will go to the board with the list of vulnerabilities and the list of we need to patch this today and the list of we need to take those servers down tonight. That did not help the CISOs too much at the board level. Now, with the shift of responsibilities and accountabilities to the boards, I start see more boards hiring more security people at the board level. And as a CISO now, when you go to the board, there is actually somebody at the board member who speak the same language as you and who can challenge you and double click on every single point you are talking about from a security perspective, and forced you now to become the business CISO that can articulate the business requirements with the layer of the security on that one. And when you start looking at your budget requirement and budget request at the end of the year, you start looking at where I can spend the money more to enhance the security, the business and enable the business, rather than I just want to patch 6 vulnerabilities and have no impact in the business. When we
Mm-hmm.
start looking at the gaps now, and this is actually, I don't think you saw my slides, but it seems that you have a good sense on what I'm going to talk to. So the common challenge we see now from boards, executives, and some of the CISOs is actually the lack of clarity on the regulatory expectation and what is need to be done to be able to meet certain requirements, especially, like we always joke about when the government writes something from a regulation perspective, it's usually high level, it's usually vague, because the expectation is I don't want to pigeonhole everybody in a specific technology or a specific requirement. Bill C-8 actually came on the other spectrum of that one. So they actually spoke about very detailed technical requirements and very detailed compliance requirement for the bill, and very detailed reporting requirements to be able to meet those. So the challenge for the board was, oh, I don't know what they need. They just send me this piece of paper and they said I need to meet it. You need to go and read the 108 pages of the bill to understand what exactly you need to do. Also, what I see as a challenge from the board and when they come to us is we have a fragmented security tools and processes. I think the people who are on the call and has been at the Palo Alto event yesterday, I think Palo Alto presented almost like tons of tools that you need to have in your environment to be able to meet the security levels that you are looking for. Same thing happened with CrowdStrike, same thing with SentinelOne, same thing with Microsoft. So when you come to the board and have a list of 20 different tools that you want to have in place to monitor your endpoints and your servers and your networks and your access points and your APIs and your AIs and this and that, people get fatigue from a technology perspective, people get fatigue from a tooling perspective, and the lack of oversight across all those tools is also a challenge that we have. And the thing that I like the most is limited in-house expertise within the organization. So any organization, big or small, it doesn't matter if you are a multi-billion-dollar organization or a multi-$100,000 organization, you cannot hire 300 people in your security team. You cannot hire 200 people security resources in your team. And actually, you don't have enough challenge to hire even 10 people in your security team, because like we need to have a scale, we need to have always new technologies, we need to have the training. So I was actually the person who built the SOC for my organization back in the days in-house because we couldn't find a service provider in Canada that can provide us with what we need. 25 years ago, I did it. I was very proud of it. Me now, I was like, why I did that? Why there was no service provider that can you do it for me? Because 6, 7 months after we build it, people start resigning because now they have that expertise. They want to go somewhere else. It's not, I don't want to just keep looking at the same tools, same infrastructure, same requirements. So whatever we think that we have tons of security people around us to do services, but when we look at our internal resources, our internal staff, the people who we have 24/7 access to them, they are very minimal, and that's a big challenge. This is why people will look for somebody like Bill Cyber, come to the environment, help with the assessment, help with any deployment, help with any recommendation to close those gaps. And at the end of the day, when it become operational, you can just give it also for somebody who is an MSSP, do 24/7 type of monitoring, which is something we do it. Also, a big difference is you cannot operationalizing the compliance program. Like people get, oh, do I need to do SOC audit? Do I need to do NIST audit? Do I need to do this assessment? Do I need to be compliant with Bill C-8 or Bill C-10 or this or that? So that's now become also an overhead. And until you are in a place where you can automate your governance, have a proper GRC framework around it, and have it automated, that will be a challenge for a very long time, actually, within organization. I know I spoke a lot, Diana, but hopefully I answered your questions.
Yes, that's perfect. That's great. I think actually it's time for us to launch our second poll for today. And that is really just talking about the readiness. Now that you understand a little bit more about the bill, you understand a little bit more about the requirements, really, where are we at with the readiness? So, Nick, if we could launch our poll, please, go ahead and update your thoughts in there based on your organization, and then we can review the results together.
And actually, as you guys try to answer those polling questions, just for a minute, put yourself in an auditor seat and try to answer those questions sometimes. Not this one specifically, but any other question that you will be asked as a security professional. Because we security people usually tend to think that we are doing everything right and that nothing else we can do, and it's the best security program on earth that me, Samir, manage, for example. But when I talk to people outside the organization, usually we don't like auditors too much, sorry to say that, but they are actually the people who prove your program right. Actually, those are the people who find gaps in your program and give you the opportunity to strengthen your program and have it in a much better shape than you think it is. So think for a minute as an auditor and say, like, if somebody showed me this, do I accept it as an auditor or not?
Okay, let's close the poll, Nick, and see the results. Okay, Samir, so I can read it to you. So the question is, are you ready and equipped to comply with Bill C-8 when it is enforced? 33% said yes, 39% said no, and 27% said I don't know. So what are your thoughts on that? I see a lot
Yeah.
of no's actually, not equipped
So
to be ready.
yeah, so 22% not sure, and 29% from the previous poll said not sure also. So those are the people who actually really need to talk to us, because we will help you to be sure that you are ready to be compliant and if it is applicable for you or not. The 39% who said no, guys, just call Diana or myself and we will be able to help you. I don't want to sound like a salesperson. I'm not, but you don't have too much of a runway for that one. The people who said yes, 33%, good for you. Keep doing what you are doing. If you think that you need support, if you think that you need help, just call us and we will be able to support you. So this presentation was supposed to be twofold. So one is what is Bill C-8, what has been changed. Hopefully, I was able to cover in a high level the major requirements and the impact on the organizations. But the second fold is actually how us at Bill Cyber can help you with this program and what is our approach for this one. So we at Bill Cyber always say we are an AI first company. We are looking at any solution from our perspective as end-to-end cybersecurity program. And we are also keep bragging about we are a Canadian-based organization. We have 350 employees. They are all in Canada, none outside the country, and most of us have a high security clearances from the federal government. So if you have a worry about are they the right people, are they local, I don't want somebody to know about it outside the country, blah blah blah, the whole thing that we cover all this. And our approach is usually very simple, and it is in line with NIST requirements in most of the places where we will come and do the assessment. And the assessment will not be only technology assessment. Usually we look at people, process, and technology. And always I mention technology, the last one of the three, because the other two is more important. So when we come and do the assessment, we look at what processes you have in place, what is your people are doing, and what technology they are using. And then we find the gaps, and then we start designing the solution to bridge those gaps and close those gaps and be able to bring you to the compliance level that you are looking for, or to the maturity level, I will call it, that you are looking for. If we have given the time and the resources, we also will work with your team on implementing any new technologies or processes that you need to be able to meet the requirement. And at the end of the day, we start looking at, okay, now you have it, it's in place, it's documented, you meet all the governance requirement that you have to the program. Now you need to operate actually the program and be sure that it's a continuous type of a process. This is also we can do. And as we mature from it is in operation now, we give it, I will say, 2 to 3 cycles. And when I say cycle, it's a quarter to actually optimize it. So where is the best we can do, the fastest we can do, what is the business impact of what we are doing, and how we can enhance the business capabilities as we proceed. Because at the end of the day, it's not only, this is not a cybersecurity program. It's not like, are we secure or not type of a thing. It's actually, are we secure and we are still able to do the business at the end of the day. So look at how you want to approach this, at which point you think Bill Cyber can help you. And if you are not sure, then I will say we can start with assessment for you, work on a design, work on implementation. And that could be a matter of a very high level advice type of an engagement to a very deep in the weed execution type of an engagement. But at the end of the day, you will have the highest Canadian based delivery model that you could have from this perspective. Almost same as the previous one. So we are, as a company, we understand the requirement for regulation. We actually need, as a company ourselves, to meet those requirements, believe it or not. So we are a SOC 2 type 2 organization. We are a protected B type of a facility for the Canadian businesses. We are well aware of what you need to do and what we need to do to meet those requirements. So you bring us to the mix, and you will have a company who actually did that for ourselves, and we want to take our experience and share it with you. When we look at remediation threats for the organization, and when we look at how you can we said we can do the assessment and we can do the design, and then at the end of the day, you need to actually do proper implementation for those controls, so you are not losing any aspect of the framework that you are doing. So we can implement for you, we can manage, and we can provide you with the SOC, Security Operations Center services. We can provide you with the managed detection and response services, and we can provide you with security as a service services. So if you are in a place where you are tight in resources, you are tight in technology, you are tight in almost everything, same as everybody else in the security space, security as a service is actually something, think about it as an extension for your cybersecurity team that you just outsource to build cyber. Part of what we do also is a third-party risk assessment, and this is the function that I spoke about, the GRC and the framework and the assessment. This is something Diana is doing, and it's very close to her heart. But also part of the security as a service, we do incident response and reporting capabilities. So actually, if you are a Build Cyber client, you don't need to have a retainer for incident response manager. You don't need to use anybody for that services. Your dedicated SOC representative or manager or account rep, call it whatever you want to call it today, they will be your incident response manager. They will manage the incident in your behalf. They will bring all the resources required on your behalf. They will run all the investigation required on your behalf. And they will work with your legal team or legal retainer or whatever you have in place for that one. So think about it as this is my security operation team, but it's rather than sit in my building in the 11th floor that I can take the stairs to reach out to them. They are at Bill Cyber office, and they are in Mississauga or in Montreal, and they are just a phone call away from me. The value to our customers from our perspective when we look at those, and this is actually a feedback we get from our clients. It's not me put this in a slide, and we see a lot of testimonials put into the LinkedIn and some other places about what our clients are looking for us. So we actually, when we go to an opportunity, we accelerate the compliance for the program for the client, and we reduce the risk because we have a framework, we have a blueprint. We just go and deploy. We don't spend too much time in assessment and validation. We also improve the security, the cybersecurity resilience for our clients, and we actually allow you access to Canadian cleared security resources in Canada, and we have the ability to scale from 2 people to your security team to 350 people to your security team. So this is all available for you at your fingertips. Again, because we are in Canada, because we are Canadian, always we look at, and we know how much the economy is difficult now. We always look at finding ways to save you, our client, the money. We find a way to provide you with the service that we are looking to provide you with a very economical type of a situation. And we have this proven many times before, where we don't go above and beyond when we charge people for services.
Samir, we have a couple of questions that have come up in the chat, and I just wanted to run those by you. So
Okay.
one of the questions that has come up in the chat is, does ISO 27001 conformance satisfy Bill C-8 requirements?
From a technology perspective, yes. From a reporting perspective, no. So the ISO 27001, 2700002, and 2700014, 014, sorry, they provide you with the technical aspects of what you need to do and how you need to do it and where you need to do it. I think the gap between those frameworks and the Bill C-8 is actually the reporting requirement for the federal government about security incidents.
Okay. Okay, good. The second question is reporting mandatory in all verticals or just certain verticals?
It is mandatory for the verticals that the Bill C-8 is applicable for them. So if you are a federal government, if you are a government entity, if you are in the critical infrastructure category, then reporting is mandatory. If you are somewhere other than that, at the moment, it's not mandatory, but we know that there is a push to make it actually mandatory for many other spaces. And the
Okay.
definition for critical infrastructure, sorry, is very wide. So energy companies, transportation companies, healthcare providers at a certain scale. So when you say it's not applicable for me, you need to be sure that you are not hitting any of those marks for the requirement.
Actually, the next question, Sam, is like just touching on the same topic. It says that, is Bill C-8 looking for specific industries to be regulated first? That is financial, telcos, water utilities, etc., and then go to other critical infrastructure companies. Is there some kind of order that has been proposed? Or, is it like everybody that is uh, in the sectors that are affected are going to have to basically come online?
Yeah, there is no order. It did not specify that those people need to go first, like let's say 2026 and the rest of 2027 and the remaining on 2028. I think the time this requirement became a lot, everybody that meet the requirement for the reporting and the whole C-8 structure need to comply with it. Now, the motion about gradual deployment for those has been discussed, but I don't think it has been approved. So I did not see any amendment happen to Bill C-8 after October 2025. So it's the same original bill that has been approved.
Okay. Okay, and there's one more question. It says, how exactly is critical infrastructure being defined by the government besides obvious organizations like telcos, utilities, energy, and banking, etc.? Any other kind of definitions around how to identify if you're subject to this or not?
Actually, all what you list is critical infrastructure. I don't want to rephrase the definition for critical infrastructure because this is in the law and it's defined there. So I recommend to the people just to go and find it and look at the type of there's I think like 7, 8 industries listed under that specific one. So my recommendation is go and find those on the federal website and look at them. I don't want to I don't want I don't want to just give you the full list because
That's
I will
fine.
miss some. I will miss some. Sorry.
Okay, and I guess those people who are not sure, they can reach out to us separately and we can have some in-depth conversations with them and review the definitions more clearly with them and then advise them if, they are going to be part of that or not.
Yes.
Okay, all
And
right, I
something
think
before I close with this one, Diana, is I wanna assure all the 336 people who attended this webinar is when we look at solution for a customer, actually the solutions are tailored. So we are still operating in a manner where we don't have hot plate, we don't have templates. I will not go and desktop a 38 pages deck that is applicable for everybody. When we do the assessment, we meet with the clients, we meet with the business leads in the cloud at the client side, and we meet with the people who make the decision and make the information available for us. And when we present a roadmap, it's actually tailored to you. It's not something we just took off of a template with somebody else and we deploy it for everybody. So that's for us what we are proud of. It's any solution we present to our clients. It's actually tailored to them. We don't use hot plates or templates for those assessments.
okay. All right, so I think that brings us to the close of our webinar for today. We're right close to the time. I think we have addressed most of the questions in the conversation chat, but if we did not get to your question, we will definitely reach out to you after the webinar and answer it. And of course, if you have any other questions that come up as a result of the discussion today, we are happy to have a further discussion about that if you reach out to Samra and I. So I just want to quickly close for before we hit time. I think one of the biggest themes from today's discussion is that Bill C-8 is ultimately more than compliance. It's really about operational resiliency. It's about cybersecurity maturity. It's about accountability, and it's about reporting and governance, and really giving that sense of um, of security that the board and the executives and the organization as a whole is looking for. And I want to reassure everyone that at Bell Cyber, we are continuing to invest heavily in our governance, our risk, and compliance. As Samir mentioned, we have the tools and we have the capabilities to help organizations navigate this journey in a practical and a strategic way. And what we are hearing consistently from our customers is they are looking for guidance. They don't just want solutions to be thrown at them. They don't want technology just to be thrown at them. This vendor, that vendor, all of that. It's really about how to navigate it, how to put together the best mix that works for you, and how you can ultimately mature your cybersecurity over time. And that's exactly what we are focused on, and that's exactly what we want to support you on. So thank you very much for joining our discussion today, and please feel free to reach out to the Belt Cyber team if you have any other follow-up questions after today's session. Thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, guys.